All right, this release is big. I'd say we call it Vyssuals 1.0 because so much has changed. And I'm just going to walk you through the changes in this update. Without a script, just let's go. Okay, so the first, let's start with the categories and parameters here. The first thing that you'll notice is that there is now a details button. And if we make this a bit wider, you can see that it gives you all kinds of details on the individual parameters. This is context aware, so when you click something on the left in the categories panel, the numbers will update. And if we deselect everything, let's start like with the basic overview over everything. You'll see there's a column for categories, which tells you on how many categories this parameter exists. Then there's the native params column, which is Vyssuals doesn't take the Revit parameters one-to-one. And this is because in Vyssuals, we want to be able to do multi-category schedules. And you know that in Revit, multi-category schedules are a bit of a pain. And that is actually because most of the parameters in Revit, even though they're called the same, they are not the same. You can, like the best example of that is the built-in parameters enumeration here. These are all the built-in parameters. And for example, if we just look for level or something, and then we put this around it so we only get the matches. So you see there's one called family param, and then there's the level param, and the schedule. Like I'm looking at this stuff here. There's tons of parameters called level. And the same is true for the structural one. Structural, wall significant structural, floor param is structural, level is structural. So you get the point. And that's really painful to work with in schedules. So that's why Revit usually keeps categories and schedules separate. And if you make a multi-category schedule in Revit, it restricts the amount of parameters that you can put in. And this is exactly the reason why, because it cannot merge these parameters. And Vyssuals can do that. So Vyssuals assumes that whatever is called exactly the same with capitalization and stuff is what you want to treat as the same. So if there's something you call level with a capital L, all the parameters that are called this way should be the same. We have to distinguish between type and instance parameters though, and between data types. So let's say there is a, you make a parameter and you call it my parameter, and you have it multiple times in your model because someone messed up the model, right? That stuff happens. And there's a version that's for types, and then there's a version of that parameter that is for instances, and there may be a version that is a text type, and then there's one that is some kind of length or number type. So if you have all these kinds of variants, Vyssuals will treat them as 4 different parameters because, how do I explain this best? Some things just cannot be merged without losing accuracy, especially with the new editing features. So, long story short, Vyssuals tries to merge parameters by name as much as it can, but if there is any really like hard logical barrier, it will keep them separate. So let's look at the table here again, and let's keep looking at the levels. So you can see the levels parameter exists on 34 categories, and it represents 7 actual internal Revit parameters. It has 18 distinct values across all the categories that you have selected. So if I select columns now, the level distinct values goes down. If I deselect columns again, you can see again that it's back up to 18. And this is the data type that Vyssuals is treating this level parameter as. So this is kind of what Vyssuals is treating this parameter as. And then you can go in and click on this native params here. It brings up this dialog, and that gives you the details about the categories that this parameter is used on and the native Revit parameters that are actually sort of feeding into this parameter. And you can see that there's all the stuff that we just looked at in the built-in parameter enumeration is inside here. Level, like zone, level ID, schedule, level param, all this stuff. And one important thing that will come in once you get into editing from the dashboard is this varies across groups thing. If you've ever written any scripts for Revit and you try to mass edit parameter values, you will have run into this problem that it says elements in groups cannot be changed from outside the group or something. So basically it means Revit wants you to go into the group to change stuff into the group, in the group. That is when varies across groups is no. And so this is kind of, I would say this is the biggest thing if you're working with the editing features in Vyssuals, is go to your parameters. I made it so small that I don't find stuff. Okay, project parameters. And I have two example parameters here. And if we look at them, this is the button. You don't want this. You want values can vary by group instance. That is what you really want to do if you want to mass edit. Yeah, if you want to do mass editing. So yeah, that's on this side. That's the new stuff in the parameters table. So it has details now. Okay, next up is let's go for, I don't know, doors. And then I have made these example parameters. So example 1 and example 2. Example 1. And it's empty. You come over to this toggle here to show the table. And you can now just double click in it and yeah, give it something. I don't know. Press enter and then you'll have this little preview. It's a Git-like change preview. You see in red what is the old value, and you see in orange what the new incoming value would be. Looks a bit overkill if you just like type into one cell, but bear with me. It's gonna make a lot of sense, especially once we come into this section here with like text transformers and stuff. So you have a bunch of options. You can just say, no, that was not good. I don't want that. So you come in and try again. You can click this plus icon here to go into this aggregated group. It's just like going into the chart here. And then you can go in and do this for one at a time. And you have a bunch of controls here. So you can only show rows that have approved changes, show the rows that have rejected. So these are toggles, and you will figure this out, I guess. Yeah, you can like exclude stuff that doesn't have a change, or include stuff that. And if we do this, then show approved changes. So if we take this out, the approved ones go out. And then if you approve something and then go again, you can reject something. Again, looks overkill now, makes a lot of sense later. And if you toggle this, you'll see that this is gone. It doesn't look like it's changing, but it is changing. All right, so you can also like bulk disapprove or approve stuff here. And yeah, and then once you're good, you press this little paper plane icon and it sends stuff to Revit. And of course now we're in the empty group, so we have to go out. And now you see all the changes have been populated into the model. And you can color the model and see, so there were two doors that we messed around with where we rejected or like deleted the change. And they are still here. So another example of this is, let's say we go in and say something, we do like else here. So this is kind of the base stuff that we want to start from. Well, actually, no, let's do it a bit different. We'll add a dashboard filter and we say it's on level 3. So now we're only looking at doors on level 3. And now we say here, else, if my keyboard is working. Okay, and now we remove the dashboard filter again. And now you can see that it's just like on some of them. And there is a diff preview that we can do. So we can click this icon here and then select the column that we want to do the preview colors for. And you'll see it shows you in orange this stuff that is kind of the state of the change is going to be shown in the Revit model. Gray is everything that has no change. Orange is the stuff that has a new change that you have to deal with. And if you approve something here and you color it again, this is not yet live. You see that, okay, this is the one that I just approved. And the same is true for rejecting stuff. So there it is. If we color again, there's one that we rejected. Yeah, and then you push that into the model, and it's only gonna push the changes that are approved. So now, yeah, it's gone back to that. Wait a minute. Going on? There we go. Okay, I was still in the drill down. So I had to just click on the chart again to get out. So like I was in this kind of group, and I had to either click here to get out, or I click on the chart to get out. So you can click here and then there. Or if you are in a drill down mode, you can also come up here and say clear cross filtering. All right. Good. So now we can delete all the changes that we made, the kind of the pending ones, so that we are clean again. And now, so we only approved one of those. We can also just come in and say other thing, and just like go straight into Revit. Say, okay, fine, it's gonna automatically approve the changes. Yeah, there we go. So I think that is, yeah, that's kind of the basic behavior of the changes that you can do. Yeah, keep in mind you can filter your chart down to only work on a specific groups of elements, like what we did with the level 3 change. So we would only push to level 3 and stuff. So just be a bit smart about this. Yeah, but I think it's pretty nice. All right, next up is, let's get rid of this one. Next up is this menu here. So there's, now that we can drive changes from the dashboard into Revit, we can kind of make mini scripts without getting into Grasshopper or stuff. So there's 4 tools, I would call them. And we'll just walk through them. So first one is the text transformer. Oop, these are massive, by the way, and they all have the same layout. They give you like the settings on the left and then a change preview on the right. And the text value transformer is there so that you can take a text parameter value on a bunch of elements, do something to the text, and put the change back into Revit. So let's try this out. All these transformers or like tools, they have the basic layout in the sense that you first select your categories. So let's say we only want to work on walls, and then you could filter down to a level or like whatever you want to narrow it down. And then you select the parameter that you want to transform. I'll stick with example 1. And then there's a bunch of modes. So there's find and replace, super self-explanatory. Add prefix, add suffix, change casing from lower to uppercase or something. Remove characters. So this is going to be index based. So like you can say remove the first 5 characters, or remove the first 3 characters, or remove the 3rd to the 5th character. Insert characters. Well, I should point my mouse at what I'm talking about. Insert characters is kind of the same thing. You say at what position in the text you want to add stuff. And then revalue is pretty much what the PyRevit revalue is doing. Because, I mean, it's just cool. Yeah, so that would be kind of this one. Oops. Where Isan talks you through like the revaluing thing. And it's like this one here is modeled after that. So let's keep it simple for now. Let's do find and replace. And we had something. So let's take the else thing and replace it with, I don't know, 1, 2, 3. And then you say generate changes. And apparently we don't have that.
The one is all empty. That's not this. Else? We do have else.
Ah, it's not in walls, it's on doors. Gotcha. Okay. Good point. Yeah, it's. I mean, let's just be real. Like sometimes you're confused by your own data. Doors. Okay, let's try again. And then yeah, you can do changes on multiple categories. But let's keep it at doors for now. Yeah, there it is. And then you say generate changes, and it has done one change, and it has replaced else with 1, 2, 3, or at least that's what it's telling you to do. And now these buttons come in handy, so you can say, okay, don't show rows that don't have any changes. Yeah, and then you can replace that and push that into the model. And then wait a little bit until Revit is done thinking. And there we go. Find and replace. And of course, this works for just like you can do this kind of stuff, obviously, because it's find and replace. What else? One other thing with the changes is that you can stack them up. And I will demonstrate. So we'll add a prefix. We'll say x underscore, and we'll add that to all the doors. Except the empty ones because they didn't have a value yet. Now we can approve a change here, and that will lock it down, so it's not going to change anymore. And now if we say find and replace, we say x underscore and replace it with abc underscore, and we generate the changes. You see that all the orange ones were kind of taken as the base value to find stuff, and then it was replacing on the orange changes. But the blue one, the accepted one, wasn't affected. So you can kind of go in layers until you're good. And you can even come in and say, okay, this is something totally different. And say, okay, I don't care what the program does, I want it to be this way. Yeah, and then um, you push that one, so that pushed the blue one, and now you can say approve all, approve, and you can push the other ones as well. And there we go. So that's the basic behavior of the changes and how you can like layer them on top of each other. And what you could do, for example, is you could build dashboards where you say step 1, do something. I can actually type do something, and then you you just duplicate this guy. So now we have 2 of them, and you say step 2, and then another thing, right? So you can build like Grasshopper-ish scripts without all the cable stuff. I know I love Grasshopper. No, I don't love Dynamo, but I love the that kind of stuff. But it's also very complicated for a lot of users. So having the option to do like a simple, hey, step 1, click there, then apply. Step 2, click here, and then apply. I think that's pretty valuable. Okay, next up. That was the text transformer. Let's go with the parameter combiner. Actually, let's take the parameter splitter for now. And it just does what you would think it would do. Oh, my mouse is lagging. We'll keep the doors for now. It can split a parameter value and distribute it into 2 pieces. So let's say we take as the input parameter, we take the type name, and as the output parameters, we take example 1 and example 2. And then you define this pattern here. So the first thing, I want to go into example 1. So we're looking at the type names here, right? And then I say space x space, and then it should go into example 2. And then I generate changes, and you can make this wider. And you can see that you have now just like taken the separator. You take the separator out, and you route the 2 remaining pieces into the parameters that you have specified. This is, I guess, very handy for some room scheduling applications. These room schedules typically go either one direction. So either you have one like complicated room number that has a bunch of information in it, and you have to like separate that out into different parameters for whatever reason. I generally wouldn't recommend doing it that way because you end up specifying like a lot of stuff in detail that you cannot bulk change. And the other way around is to combine parameters into one, and that is usually better. So you can work off of existing model data, or you can just take a value from one parameter and move it into the other one. Yeah, this is also a pretty cool thing. So let's just approve the changes, push them into the model here. And so with these parameter splitters and combiners, you can kind of hack them into a different thing. And you can use them to just move one parameter value from one parameter into another one. So let's say we take our examples one. Example 1 is the input, and example 2 is the output. And then we just say example 2 here. So everything that was in the input will be routed to the output. So example 1 has 26 here, so maybe in here it's more obvious. So it has all the minutes stuff, like the fire rating stuff. If we generate changes, all the fire rating goes away, and it just takes that value and puts it over into the other parameter. And then you push that into the model. So like if you ever felt like, damn, this value is all in the wrong parameter, you just move it over and you're happy. Like it's a nice hack for the parameter splitter and the parameter combiner. Let's talk about the parameter combiner. Wow, English is complicated today. Parameter combiner. Here we go. It's the same thing, reverse. And yeah, let's just be simple again. Let's take the type name as the input and then the level because we see it here. And we'll put that into the example 1. And then the pattern is we'll just for fun we say level first, and then we do like a ton of underscores, and then we say type 2, generate the changes, and there you go. So you would have combined a parameter, and this can be more, right? Type ID, whatever. Let's just for fun, let's take the, can we take the native ID as the input ones? And let's put that first. Native ID. Oops, put that last. Don't want that to be last. Just write it out. Native ID, curly braces, and then we probably can put a dot and generate the changes. Cannot generate because why can't it generate? This is wrong. Let's just delete all the visible changes for now. Okay, maybe the native ID, it doesn't like the native ID. Let's do something else then. Workset maybe? Does this file have worksets? Let's see. Workset. Okay. Take this one, put it here. Okay, there we go. So native ID, apparently it didn't like it. Yeah, combining multiple parameter values into one. Push that into the model. You can really mess up your model with this. Yeah. Be careful, please. I'm not liable. And then once Revit is done thinking, brings all the changes back. Oh, you can also, by the way, you can completely clog up Revit with this. Like the web app has no change, has no problem generating like 70,000 changes. But if you push that to Revit, it's game over. Like Revit doesn't like that. All right, so that was the parameter combiner. Last one, and really not least, is the formula calculator. Revit formulas are kind of limited. And one of the biggest things, like on the Revit ideas board, is people want to use text parameters in formulas. And I also wanted to use that. So let's do that. Doors again, no filters, input parameters. So you specify all the parameters that you want to use in the formula. And let's just do like the can we do like level? I think we can do level. We want to use the level, and we want to use just let's keep it simple for now. And we want to put this into example output 2. Okay, so there's two modes, calculate and aggregate. Let's talk about calculate first. Aggregate is kind of an edge case, but it's pretty handy for some people. So, and then we can do if statements here, or we can do like you can, as you can see, you can do like height plus width times 2 or something, but you can also do if statements. The syntax is pretty much exactly the same as in Revit. Yeah. So if level, and then you can just click on this. So that's the difference to Revit. You identify parameters with the curly braces, and it gives you this quick insert thing. So if level equals, and then you can say L2. So whenever you want to work with text values, you put the quotation marks. It doesn't matter if you put single or double. So if level equals L2, then you can say it's on level 2. Else, you say no, and then you close the parentheses. Or was this bullshit what I told you? Yes, it was bullshit. Yes, it was bullshit. Okay. Use double quotes. Generate changes. Now, if we take this one and say L2, it's on level 2. And then, yeah, the other ones are not on level 2, as you can see. And again, you can come in and say, okay, this is good, this is good, this is not good, this is not good. And then you can also say like, okay, approve all this stuff. And then you push the change into the model. Push it into the model, it refreshes, and now we'll take chart here, and we can look at the chart to validate, yeah, like that. It's on level 2, and it is on level 2. Yes, it is on level 2. Yeah, and you can nest if statements and stuff here. Okay. Next thing is the we need to talk about the aggregate mode. This is a long video, sorry. Aggregate mode. We'll do this with rooms because that is where this feature request came from. So let's take out the doors. Let's go rooms. And I think in the rooms, in this model, there's like occupancy or something. Occupancy. Yeah. So let's say you have a use case where you need to write the total area for each occupancy group or department group or the apartment number. You need to write the total area of the apartment number to all the individual rooms in that apartment. And we'll not use apartments here because this is not a residential building, it's a whatever building. We'll use the occupancy to simulate these apartment numbers. Okay. So the input parameter is gonna be occupancy and it's gonna be area. And the output doesn't matter if it's a number or a text parameter. Vyssuals will figure out the right data type and put it in as the right data type. And then we'll switch to aggregate mode. And now we need to specify a grouping. So actually, I think we don't need it here. We need the grouping here, occupancy. So you can see that the table now is grouping by occupancy. And it's giving you, we don't need the level in here. Okay, so occupancy, and then it's totaling up the area, and we want to write this total into every single instance inside of this group here. And with this, I think we just do this. No, yes. It's been a while since I wrote this. You just say sum up the area. There we go. And now you can see that the change that would be put into this is the total. A little bit of a bug because it didn't have that before. And then you approve the changes, approve them, and there we go. So this is example 2 is a text parameter. Well, let's verify this. Sorry, I'm moving too fast. We will take this one and turn it into a table. It's grouping by occupancy. And then we want to show the values of example 2. And so now, since there's only one distinct value in here, it's just showing you the value because it's text. Sorry, this is a bit confusing now, but people that want to use this feature are smart and they will get it. And if we go in, you can see every single room in this here, this one, and this one. Oh, yes, no. They all have the same value now, right? And if this example 2 was a number parameter, obviously it would calculate and would sum up the numbers, but this is a text parameter now. Okay. Yeah, and I mean, we can again look at, we can also look at the tooltips here. So there's, for all these new things, there's tooltips all over the place, and they should be pretty explanatory, what you can do with them. All right. I think that was it. That's a bunch of stuff. But I think we needed to talk about this in this much detail to really get you an idea of what's possible now. Hope you have a good day.